Let's start some shit. We got BoBo the Grouch in the house. No, bad idea.
Yeah.
Very bad idea.
Well, we can talk shit. We're just not gonna name names.
So general guidelines for the podcast, right?
Yeah.
I try to avoid naming names and name dropping and who was in whose hotel room and shit back in 2002. Because you never know what stories people were telling other people that they were with at other times.
Right.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'll go ahead and count us down before we run out of battery. So we'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. BoBo the Grouch, the Oscar Vihuela player from Tucson. How's it going, brother?
Good, brother. Good. That's good.
Doing good?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I had to come down here, and I'm here obviously for the Mariachi Conference this week. We got some kids that are playing in Phoenix. They doing pretty well.
Yeah, I've seen them, man. I've seen them in action. They sound pretty good.
They're getting legit. They wanna go after everybody's cereal box, and so I'm just like, well, let's go after everybody's cereal, man. What do you want, cornflakes or Kellogg's, man? We can do this, but it's gonna take that work.
Definitely.
Right, that 6-7 hours a day of practice. You remember that shit? Remember when we used to play like 6 or 7 hours, between 2 or 3 days of rehearsal time only, not gigs.
Yeah, not even gigs. That's just practice.
Just practice.
Yeah.
Getting ready for shows, you'd be practicing every freaking day.
Yeah, as we get older, we don't have the time to do that.
Got bills to pay.
Correct. We have our regular, Monday through Saturday jobs or Monday through Friday jobs, 7 to 5 o'clock or whatever the case is, whatever your schedule is, whatever. But yeah, we have to do the adult thing, unfortunately, and we just really don't have the time
to practice that much.
To put into it. Yeah, but we have to. We really do have to keep the craft up. Definitely have to keep doing it. So,
especially if you're in a performing group.
Correct.
If you're just taking chamba, that's kind of on you.
Yeah.
That's your reputation, right?
Right.
And no one can say good or bad or indifferent of that kind of work, right? Some people do very well in that work.
Right.
And they keep themselves sharp because of it, because they know that they want to get those calls, right? So if they start to suck, they get less calls. They don't eat as many steak dinners.
Oh, call so-and-so.
He's at the bottom of my list, bro.
Correct.
That's if I'm really desperate.
Right.
That's a 2 a.m. last call right there. And you really don't want to do it, but you're either going to do that or you're going to go home by yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And we're already getting inappropriate on the PlayMariachi Podcast, guys. Sorry about this. We've been in the Tucson area. At least I've been with our group all week since like about Tuesday. And, it was our first experience. And it's reminding me of so much about how we were when we were kids, man. And for viewers of the PlayMariachi Podcast who don't know BoBo, he's an old school vihuela player here in Tucson, taught by some of the I guess you could say some of the greats here in Tucson. Is in his lineage. I can't even speak. I've been talking all fucking week, talking to people, and it's been a really fun thing, man. And viewers and fans of the podcast, they came up to me all week. They're like, "Are you Jason Davenport?" I'm just like,
nice.
"Yeah, what's it?" Like, "Oh, I'm a parent and I watch your podcast."
Why?
Yeah, I was like, "Why? What did Jason Davenport do to you? Or what do you got against him?"
Right. Exactly. You got to ask that question first, and then you can reply.
Then I'll reply, "Yeah, I'm Jason Davenport. Yeah, how's it going? Nice to meet you."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they can be charming. But that's reminded me a lot of back when I was looking up to you guys. Because you guys are the older ones that when I was in that high school age, you, Louis, Miguel, all these guys that were just years ahead of me, a couple of years ahead of me, that I was starting to come in as you guys were leaving school and you guys are going off and playing professionally. Now I'm coming into the groups. Now I'm competing with all my peers that are way better than me back in the day and still probably are. And it's crazy, man. So you play vihuela. You're like the go-to vihuela guy, man. It's like if there's anything that someone says, like I need a straight vihuela player, it's like I think mostly of you, right?
I appreciate that.
So how did you? Kind of a common theme with the podcast is your start. Like when did you start playing? Like what was the thing that got you going and into the world of being a vihuela player here in Tucson?
Man, honestly, I've had this conversation recently with a couple people, and the movie, believe it or not, that got me stuck on music was La Bamba.
Oh shit! Yeah, same for me.
It was La Bamba, and honestly, it wasn't even Richie Valens. It wasn't any of that. The scene where they go to Tijuana
To the titty bar.
to La Bamba.
Yeah.
The scene where Los Lobos is on stage playing La Bamba. That's what got me.
That's
stuck
what
on
gets me every
That's
time.
what got me stuck on it, and I was.
It was just fucking cool, wasn't it? You got the guys in the shades, and they're
Yeah.
they're playing the jarocho, and I'm just like, man, I just want to be one of those dudes with the
Right.
with the sangron look on his face, like,
yes, that badass.
yeah, you want to be that badass.
So I remember my mom had got for me like on VHS tape. I watched that shit so much I busted it like numerous
Mm-hmm.
times. My mom had to buy me another VHS tape. I wasn't even in kindergarten. I must have been like 4 years old, 5 years old.
Yeah.
So, because I started kinder a year late or whatever. I started when I was 6. But anyway, so I must have been like 4 or 5 when I was like super interested in it because of that movie, because of the one scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Los Lobos.
Random thing.
Yeah, so I remember I was stuck on it, and I guess I expressed interest in my mom and my nana. They bought me a little guitar, Nogales, a little.
Like, here, don't mind. Let's see what you do with it.
Let's see what you can do. So, I mean, there's pictures and stuff I have floating. My mom has, I was a little kid, but that's what really got me stuck on it was that scene from that movie. And then I started at Davis. I kindergarten at Davis, and before there was a mariachi, there was a guitarristas. There was nothing but guitars playing melody lines, and Mr. V was, the accompaniment, the rhythm. And he didn't let kids start until they were in 2nd grade.
Oh man.
So when I was in kinder, I showed, a lot of interest, and I remember he kind of gave me a guitar. I said, oh, well, can you play this? And I can't really say I was little, but when I was younger,
Right.
I've always been, this multi-throne, unfortunately.
The
So,
big dude, the big man.
So he gave me a full-size guitar, and he showed me, a couple little La Mucu. That was the first song he showed me in kindergarten, and he showed it to me, and I immediately played it, and he's like, well, wow, you can actually play it. He's like, well, I'll make,
A little exception.
a little exception, and he let me start when I was a kinder,
Oh shit.
and the rest of the kids couldn't start till they were in 2nd grade.
So now you're the badass
No,
before you even start.
no, not at all.
Just because you get to go in first before everybody else.
Yeah. So I had a couple years jump on some of the kids there, but yeah, I started off in kindergarten at Davis, and then his son Jaime had came in one day with his vihuela, and I remember I looked and said, oh, what's that?
What is that shit?
And I remember he showed it to me, and I thought it was played like a guitar. And he's like, no, this is the rhythm patterns and this and that. He showed me like the G chord. I was like, oh, it's almost the same, as a guitar. It just doesn't have the top 6 string. So he showed me a couple chords, and he showed me rhythm patterns, and I'm like, wow, it was so much louder than a guitar. I'm like, I think I want to try this.
Like, I want to be this one.
Yeah, so I think I was like in 3rd grade, 4th grade, when Mr. Valenzuela had got a couple of vihuelas right there at Davis, and I immediately took to that. And
That's been it the last 25 years, huh?
that's been it, man. Yeah.
Jesus, man. It's so funny that everybody we talk to on the podcast has that same kind of common thread, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's a movie, it's a
Right.
family thing, it's a school,
yeah,
it's a teacher.
Don't get me wrong. When, of course, I La Bamba and that scene stuck to me forever. But again, living with my nana and stuff, every weekend.
Música ranchera. That's all you hear.
I love Rocío Durcal. I love Juan Gabriel. We listen to a lot of that at my nana's house.
My nana used to play it on piano.
Really?
Yeah, my nana would have a parlor piano, and growing up as a little 4-year-old, watching La Bamba, tripping out on La Bamba, and having her take a fake guitar off of the wall so I could pretend I was playing the shit, and then and her playing actual accordion and playing the piano and singing all those songs, singing all the Juan Gabriel songs, singing Se me olvidó otra vez, all this shit, dude. Like, I just grew up with it.
Yeah, same here. So, I remember on the weekends, it was always tradition at my nana's house. If Saturdays was, carne asada days, Sundays was menudo and football. And, that was tradition no matter what, you know what I mean? So, very early in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, I would wake up to Juan Gabriel or Rocío Durcal. And then, of course, once I started going to the conference and stuff, I bought all the old Cobre CDs, all the old Campero CDs, all the bunch of old Vargas.
Your life is over.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. My tata in particular, loved the old Linda Ronstadt stuff. And so I grew up listening to a lot of that. But once I went to my first conference in 1st grade, I suckered my nana to buy me all the 3 Cobre CDs at the time that were out. Well,
still out.
Yeah.
The 3 CDs that are out.
Correct, yeah. The 3 Cobia CDs.
You know, when they're good, they're good because the only one that had 3 CDs in their discography.
Yeah.
That's I don't need no more. I'd still listen to that shit today.
Correct, yeah.
Like when I feel like I'm starting to drift away.
Yeah, you listen to the old stuff.
I need to put that shit on, get my vihuela, get my guitar, and just listen and study. Because one thing to copy and mimic, right? It's one thing to just be like, but then to listen to like the dynamic change in a song, if it changes, is it always the same? Do they change their dynamic for a singer? Do they change their dynamic for a style? Like you start to get into like deep, like all week, dude. I've been hanging out with people that are like high level musician type folks, and they're talking to these kids about these dynamics, these changes, and you know, trying to quantify the emotion, right? Because unless you grew up like we did, you're not gonna just have that in you by birth, right?
No.
It's like if you grow up in a well and there's something in the water, you're gonna have it in you, right?
Correct, yes.
If you don't grow up like that, then it has to be taught.
Right.
And the only way to teach it is to quantify it and say, these are the dynamics. Listen to the lyrics of the song. This person is losing the love of their life.
Correct.
This person's love of their life lied to them. This person died. This person left.
Yeah.
Or
I remember years ago, I kind of had to tell him, you know, a kid that I'm like, okay, you're playing a bolero, but he was playing it very.
Chin, 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 chin. It's like, whoa,
Hold on.
chill out,
I mean,
bro.
don't get me wrong, there's some boleros that are fast.
Yeah, like Javier Solis stuff.
Yes.
You know, En Tu Pelo. It's a very fast bolero.
Right.
It's
But listen to the
dynamic.
words.
Right, yeah.
Listen
The
to
words are a little fucked up, right?
Exactly. But, I mean, I still remember this kid was playing, and it wasn't even so much that he was playing fast. He was playing very aggressive. Chun, 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 chun. I'm like, you can play it fast, but you don't need to play it that aggressive.
Right.
So
You don't have to play at warp speed.
Correct. Yeah,
And you don't have to play it with the force of an axe trying to break through wood.
Correct. Absolutely.
I need to have you come up to Phoenix and talk to our weather player. He's a young kid. He's just like us.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I bag on this dude, but when you see a student with potential, don't you just want to just push the shit out of them so that they just become the best?
Exactly. Yeah, and believe me, I had to learn it the hard way too. I remember, and I to this day I still have a mano pesada, and that's just how it is. But I understand the dynamics of how a song should be, so you play the song accordingly. But yeah, I remember in my must have been like 11 or 12. I was taken to a gig because we all thought we were the badass because we knew Cascabel and all that, and that's all we wanted to play. So Maria Kramer took me to a chamba. I remember because I thought I had, I couldn't walk through a front door because my head was that big because I could play Cascabel and all this bullshit. The pato arrangement, the camperos that Luis Damiano one at the time.
The juvenil one?
Correct. Mind you, that's another story, but couldn't walk to the front door because I had, this huge head, and I remember Kramer said, okay, humblest dude ever, man, love the guy. I said, okay, well, you can play Cascabel, I have a 4-hour chamba. You want to go? Yeah, I can play.
I want to do it.
Oh my God.
Man, I can feel it already.
Out of a 4-hour gig, dude, I was lucky to know like a dozen songs in 4 hours.
Yeah, and you're just sitting there like with
so at the end of the chamba,
I still
remember, man, at the end of the chamba, I put my vihuela away, fucking feeling stupid, so stupid. And he comes up and he pays me for the 4 hours.
So here's your money.
He said, here's your money, you were here for 4 hours, this is your chamba money. I felt so stupid, I gave him every fucking dollar back, dude.
Damn.
I was like, there is no way I'm taking the money for this gig.
And that's
impossible.
And that's
I think I was like 12 years old when that happened.
Damn, dude. And that's a character thing.
Yes,
because
you need to have your balloon deflated every now and again.
And sometimes, and this is a hard thing to touch on it, but sometimes you'll come across people, not just students, but people that they don't give a shit. They'll take that money.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They have no self-awareness or self-integrity or self-analysis on what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's some people that just don't know no damn different.
Yeah, they don't. I showed up. I'm here.
Yeah.
I want my money.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Shut up and pay me.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
And it's like, okay.
So, like I said, I remember that was a very humbling experience. That was the first humbling experience he gave me, and I thank God every day for that because, as a snot-nosed kid, to play.
You need to be broken down a little bit.
Absolutely.
You need to be judo flipped right on the mat. Like, hey, you thought you were good.
Yeah,
But there are levels to this shit, son.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my first very humbling experience that gracias a Dios, man, that dude gave me, and I was never able to thank him enough for that, because like I said, I remember, a snot-nosed kid, you think you know everything because you can play Cascabel or Veracruz One or wherever the kid.
But you know,
Bongo,
zero repertoire.
But yeah, but you're green as shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go take you to the 4-hour chamba.
Let's go to the restaurant and then go to the chamba and then do an 8-hour day and do it every weekend.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So,
take you 6 months to catch up to that shit, and you gotta hope that someone keeps you around.
Even longer, man. And even longer than that. But
years, depending on how much you study.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember that 4-hour chamba. Like I said, I was lucky to know like a dozen songs. Granted, that was probably only like the sones and like a couple podcasts. That was about it. But every other bolero, Javier Solis, Vicente Fernandez, Juan Gabriel, granted, I listened to them forever, but I didn't know the song.
You didn't think to have to learn at that
Correct.
point.
No way in hell. And I remember, Amor Eterno, Volver, simple bullshit songs. I was like,
You just don't know the chords.
of course.
Shit.
What chord is it? And of course, the humbling experience. Well, what key are we in? C. No, that's not their setup. So what key are we in? You know what I mean?
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
fuck, man, I hated it.
You know, it's funny talking about that memory, because now, me and Miguel, we're teaching these kids, and we're having the same experiences. And after this week, I think I've been thinking about this a lot, because I'm not teaching at the con. I've just been hanging around with the kids, talking to people. I was going to do podcasting, but I'm like, you get it about character, right? I would love to talk about everything with everybody. But there are people there that are busy. They're teaching, or they're there with their students. And we can have little 5-10 minute conversations, which we have plenty of. I talk to a lot of people all week. I'm freaking exhausted. But my character is not, let me get this on camera because I want to fucking, get out of here with that bullshit.
It's like those people that, they go to a concert and the entire concert they're on their phone.
Yeah, they have no concept of life.
Fucker, you're at a concert, watch it, don't record it.
Yeah, watch the show.
But there's people that are like that. I mean, unfortunately, that's just how society is nowadays, thanks to technology and these phones. You got
everything has to be out there.
Yes, everything has to be.
It's like, I'm a little bit of a social media whore sometimes. Like if I find a guitar or a vihuela or something dope, I'm like, I got no problem posting about it.
Right.
I'm not trying to be a cocky asshole. I'm just like, hey, this is out here. This is what's out here. Here's how I'm finding stuff. Here's where I'm finding stuff. And if you want it, come get it. Come buy it. Have someone come out here and get it. I've had a couple of people buy shit just from Facebook posts that I've had.
So the vihuela.
Yeah.
The vihuela we're talking about stuff for sale.
Oh, that one is always there, dude. That one. Let me tell you this. There's a little bit.
Now that it's out there.
Okay, now we're being real. All right, boo boo. Let's get to it. What do you got? So everyone knows that I have this really nice ruby red size 1 old Roberto Morales vihuela. I've posted about it a lot. You can see it in my videos. It's a very nice, rare find that I just plucked out of the fucking rinkiest little guitar shop. And
we all do not like you for that reason.
Everybody hates me just because I found it. It's like that one asshole that got with that chick on the prom night. It's like, why did he get her? Son of a bitch! You lucky asshole.
That's pretty much what that is. Yeah. That's exactly how this translates to.
That's the feeling, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Amongst you, Louis, everybody.
Correct.
Pretty much.
So back to what you were promising me. What you were saying.
What I promised you. Okay, so with that vihuela. Now, there's a couple of people that have obviously made me offers on it, right? People that I respect. People that play way better than me. You're one of them. On vihuela. You can't fuck with me on guitar, but on vihuela, you can give me a run for my money, okay? Since we're being real.
Well, I appreciate that.
But I can't imagine the circumstance that I would be in that I would sell that instrument. Because it is such a rare thing to find. Right. Not only would I have to be in a specific circumstance, and I can't even think of what it was, because if all I had was that vihuela and my fucking jeans and one pair of canzones, I guess I have one pair of canzones and that vihuela, man. That's it. That's gonna be the last man standing. I'm like, how much how much can I pull out of the garbage can to eat before I sell that vihuela? So I'm sure there's a circumstance that I would sell it. Here's probably one. If I find one of equal or greater value to me. And I mean, not just because there's tons of shit out there, right? That sound close to that have that kind of prestige. It's an old Roberto that was restored at one point, but was restored perfectly. And the sound is just pristine. It's just so good. But to find something like that, it's not just to find something that's its equal or better, but to have the story. Like, how did I find it?
Right.
Did I just randomly, before I got engaged to my wife as we were on a trip, stumble into a random guitar shop in South Los Angeles and plug that fucker out from people who didn't even realize what they had? I've done that maybe once or twice in my life. I keep having this fantasy that I go back to that shop and there's a guitarrón right there. It's the same circumstance. And it's like, I have that fantasy. I fantasize about that more than most other things that guys fantasize about. And I'm like, what would I do? I just, like, if I saw like an old 30, 40-year-old Roberto bass, a size 2.
So what you're getting at is you're not going to sell it. That's what you're getting.
Well, what I'm getting at is it would have to be a specific circumstance for me to sell it. And I would only sell it to certain people, you being one of them.
Okay.
And it would be one of those things where I would go down the list of people that I like and that I know would take care of that thing, like you, Mencho, Louis. There's a few other people. It's a very short list.
Very short list.
I would go down that list and like, do you have X number of dollars on you right now to buy this? And it would pretty much be whichever one of you fuckers is lucky enough to have it gets it.
Well, listen, I have money put away just in case something like that.
Just in case Jason loses his shit, or forgets that he loves that instrument. And
I mean, something. I don't know. You can wake up tomorrow and not remember anything. So I'm just saying.
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
It's not going to go anywhere.
No, yeah.
It's not going anywhere. So
But I am on the hunt for an old Roberto.
They're getting harder to find.
I know.
They're getting really. So that's one thing I want to talk to you about. Is the vihuela itself, man? I mean, that's your bread and butter. Yeah. You've been playing the vihuela for a long time.
Right.
You've seen a lot of shit, right? You've seen old Morales, you've seen new Morales, you've seen all the variations of the sons and grandsons, right. All the new makers. It's like, how does a student, or even better yet, a parent, right now? Because if you're a professional, you should know better.
Right.
You shouldn't be getting stuff on an instrument if you're a professional.
Right.
Well, let me be fair. If you're a young professional, you're in your 20s, maybe you're starting to learn, right? Maybe you're now starting to acquire a connoisseur attitude of instruments, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe this applies to them. How do you go about finding the right instrument? Finding that one diamond in the rough, regardless of what maker it is, man, and what makes a good one?
Believe me, man, I grew up with the whole, thing. It had to be a Morales, and that was it.
That was it.
There's no other comparison. It has to be Morales. Now that I'm older, believe me, I understand the importance of a Morales. Whether it be Roberto or Ruben.
Yeah.
The importance of Morales, I understand it. But the way we grew up, there was no other standard. That was it.
Yeah.
You either had a Roberto, Ruben, or nothing.
Nothing.
Well, actually, back then, there really was nothing. Really.
Yeah, there's not much.
Back then, like, I'm 35 now, so like I said, this had to be 28, 29 years ago.
I mean, I think about how many of those was he pumping out a year?
Like, I don't know, because even back then, I heard stories. Fonzie, rest in peace, Fonzie.
Yeah.
When his mom ordered his set of Guitarrón and Vihuela, he waited like 14 months for it.
Jesus. I know there's always been a backlog.
And that was paid in full.
Like,
He still
all the
waited
cash.
14 months
Jesus.
to get it. And that was before I had my Ruben Morales. I've had that one 23 years now.
Shit.
So Fonzie had got that one, like I said, before that. So let's just say 28, 30 years ago. And he still waited 14 months to get that in. So I'm like,
you can imagine in the last 2 decades, the 2000s era, when, I think about it, like how many vihuelas and guitarrones could he put out per month? when you have a wait list of a year, 2 years.
Not to mention when Pato or Damian or whoever it was called him and said, "Hey, I want a vihuela.
I need a vihuela."
It didn't matter who he was previously making it for. If it was done, or
it's going. You know,
going to you.
Cuco told me a story about that one time. When he bought his set, he stole Pato's set.
Really?
Yeah, the guitarrón and vihuela that he had when I was in Herencia, and Cuco was telling me this. He's like, "¿Sabes qué? Este vihuela and guitarrón, este Pato." I'm just like, how is that Pato's? Did he sell it to you? He's like, "No, me lo robaron." He went to the Morales shop, and it was there ready to go, and he paid cash, and he's just like, "Here's the money now."
As we know, in Mexico, cash is
cash. Yeah.
If you have it, you got it.
You got it.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Money talks. Bullshit walks, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's what he did. He had the money, and he said, "I'll pay for it all right now if you give it to me." And of course, it's Google. Everybody knew him. Everybody knows him at this point. So yeah, he got it, and it was nice.
That reminds me of Kramer. He had went to Morales, and there was a vihuela that he had just refinished for I don't know who, hadn't been paid for, whatever. Kramer offered him so much money, and Kramer came back with another Morales.
You know, the kids are going to.
Whose it was. He doesn't know whose it was.
He doesn't give a shit. He's like, "It's mine now."
It was sold to him, and that's simple as that, So
the kids are going to Guadalajara this year. Our Phoenix group. Mm-hmm. I'm so tempted to just save up, like, a couple of bills and just go and just walk into either the son's or the grandson's shop or I think the Roberto Morales name is still being put out there.
Correct, but it's not obviously the senor. He passed away, so obviously he's not making them.
He's not making them, but I'm wondering, is the standard still there?
Right. See, and that's kind of what I'm skeptical to see, in the next 4 or 5 years. If the Roberto Morales, like I said, the name's not going anywhere.
Right.
So what I'm skeptical to see is if the quality and craftsmanship, the sound,
is still there
in the next 4 or 5 years.
That's another reason why I buy guitars from Tomas, because every time I've bought a guitar there, it's unparalleled for the money that I'm paying.
I agree.
And when I go buy guitars from his uncle and his father and his grandfather, it's the same shit. Right. There's obviously differences, right? There's little nuances, little choices, builds, flaws, whatever. But every time I pick up a Candelas that came from their shop that was made by one of the family members, right? It's always there. Yeah. Even if the frets are beat to shit and there's cracks, it's like I just tap it. It feels like a big drum. You're just okay. Yeah. How much you want for this? Well, it's a Candela, so how about $800? Like, how about all this shit that's wrong with it, bro? How about $350? I'm brutal at negotiating, especially when people that don't know what they have, right? They go on eBay and they see something like, "Oh, this must be that." The second I see someone that doesn't know what they're talking about, I'm like, "I got you, bitch." That's how I got that vihuela that you want so much. Okay, man, it's really.
Oh no, I don't fucking like you for that reason.
I'm gonna add insult to injury. They wanted something around.
I heard the story. Fuck you. I don't want to hear it.
So for our podcast listeners, I'm gonna torture BoBo a little bit. Go back to the. Okay, all right. I'll spare you. I'm in your crib. I'll play by your rules.
Thank you very much.
So, it's a fucked up story, isn't it?
Yeah, I heard.
And
even when I hear from other people, I'm like, fuck Jason. Shit.
Bastard. He doesn't even play well. Why does he get the vihuela?
He fucking sucks.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
When Menschel told me the story, I'm like,
why does that have to happen? And not for nothing. So since we're on the topic of like standards and quality, when you do the research and you do the work, and then you go out and you hunt, right? I go to punch. I go everywhere. If I see a spot,
little nook and cranny,
I'll go in there, and that's where I found a lot of shit. And so a lot of people get a little bit price sensitive. They're like, "Well, what if you're gonna pay? You paid how much for it?" And I was like, "Well, say I paid $400 for it, right? Say I paid $400, $500, however much I paid for something, and then I want to sell it for, I want $1,000 bucks." They're like, "Yeah." They'll be like, "Well, why can't you give it to what you paid for it?" I'm like, "Well, why the fuck would I even sell it?"
Yeah, exactly.
Do I look desperate? I'm fat. I'm obviously not starving. You know what I mean? Right. And so, what is the incentive for me to sell you anything unless I like you?
And see, and
Like if I like somebody,
you are the more politically correct out of the two of us. So in my case, I'd be like, "Fuck you! It doesn't matter what I paid. You're gonna give me what I want. That's it."
This is why I wanted to talk to you, Boo Boo. Because I hate politicians.
I don't like that shit either.
And so yeah, I feel that way. But then I come at it with a little bit more of a okay. Let's see if I can help someone understand this, right? So it's like, would you buy a car for $2,000, and say you got a steal on it? Say it's it's a Beamer and it's in better condition. Yeah, and someone just gave it to you for $2,000, and say you want.
Died.
Yeah, because someone passed away,
Right.
and the grandson doesn't want the car, which is a very good analogy for some guitars that I have. That shit has happened to me, man. And just being waiting. But let's say that the grandson had it on sale and started out high, but couldn't do it, eventually got tired of negotiating, got tired of the calls. And you just happened to come along at the right time, and you've been watching it, and you're watching it, and watching it, and you're like, oh, okay, it went down. Okay, it's probably not going to stay for long, so
Right.
I've spent 3 months looking at this thing. I'm going to go over there right now and make him cash offer. And maybe I'll even offer him $1,800, because why the fuck not? Right? Why the fuck not? Why can't you ask, right? I'm not taking advantage. He has it for sale. I didn't go and rob him, right? So you can do that. But if you're not in that situation, if you're the one who did that, why would you give it away for nothing? And some people
don't understand.
Some people want you to give away your house for nothing.
No, fuck that.
It's like, this isn't fucking Walmart, dude. I don't sell at Chinese prices.
Yeah, no, not at all.
You know?
Yeah, there's people that don't understand that concept or whatever the case is. You know what I mean?
But the
You
quality.
get those assholes. Oh, I do. Well, and this is maybe where you're wrong or right. I don't know. Don't tell them what you pay for it. You tell them what you want for it. That's it.
That's very true. That
Unless
is very true.
It's me or you, then we can talk.
We can talk, yeah. And in some cases, I will tell people straight up, this is what I paid for it, this is what I want for it.
Correct.
And if you don't like
like
it,
a me and you situation, yeah. Look, boo, I paid such and such for it.
yeah.
You know.
But there's
but
one
then
thing.
again, I know the value of that
instrument.
whatever the case is.
And there's quality there, right? So, in my opinion, there's only a problem with any price. Like, say I have a Roberto Morales guitarron, and say I want $3,000 for it. That's a little unreasonable, depending on how good or bad it is, right?
Right.
If it's mediocre, if it's okay, if it's one of his okay ones, and I just want the money for the name, is that reasonable? Probably not.
Yeah.
I can still ask for it.
Yeah.
If somebody...
But you'll get, the way I see it, people will pay depending how bad they want it.
Yeah, the desire has to be there.
Correct. Back to your vihuela in that case. If you gave me some ridiculous price, I'd probably pay for it.
You'd probably pay for it.
Why? Because that's what I want. And,
You want
it's
that.
It's like
Yeah.
anything. It's like anything you want, whether it's a guitar, vihuela, guitarron, in my case, sometimes a pair of shoes or whatever the case.
You want that.
If I want it, I'm going to pay whatever price
Yeah.
it is because it's something I want.
If I can get it. If I can afford it, I'm going to do it.
Correct. Yeah, I'm not going to, not buy groceries for the whole month.
Well, sometimes you might not buy groceries for the month because you really wanted that shit. I've done it. I've eaten pretty lean just because I wanted something, and I said, you know what, fuck it, let's just get it.
Noodles and sandwiches were.
In college, I had to do that in college.
Yeah.
I was kind of broke, and I wanted to go out. I wanted to do this. I wanted to have that, and so is going to be there. Okay, well, fuck. I guess I'm going to be eating sandwiches all week because I'm going to spend my budget.
Yeah, no, it happens. But like I said, it like your point being, I mean, if somebody can say, "Oh, that's too much for this guitarron," for that one person might be too much. But you get that desperate person that wants whatever you have, they're going to pay for it.
They're going to pay for
Supply and demand. That's just simple.
That's the way it goes.
That's what
Now,
it is, man.
here's when you take advantage of people. If that instrument is lacking quality or is fucked up or fake.
Right.
Now, this
That's
is a
fucked up.
big difference, right? I cannot sell somebody a vihuela with a Roberto name in it if it is not an actual Roberto vihuela. I've seen a couple of knockoffs.
Right.
I've seen attempts at knockoffs where you get some asshole at one point put an old, very old Roberto label, which I can only imagine where he got it because it looked like it was authentically old. Put it in a vihuela. The vihuela itself was way too new for that label. way too new. I was like, there's no way that this matches. The wood, none of it matched. I was like, someone fucking is trying to take me for a ride here. But if you don't know any different,
yeah, you'll
get suckered.
So back to what you were saying before, you'll get that parent that's trying to buy their instrument for their kid. Oh, well, you know, they have this Roberto Vihuela for $2,000. Granted, let's say that was the case. That person, you know, got a new Vihuela, put an old Roberto sticker on it, and that was what happened, which is fucked up. People have done it.
Yeah.
But you'll get those parents, you know, hearing stuff from us or whoever the case is, Morales.
They'll go
so
for
they're
it.
Be like, oh, well, it's a Morales. We gotta get it because, you know,
let's go for
little Daniel wants it, whatever the case is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And they're gonna be the dumbass pendejos that pay the $2,000 for that Vihuela.
It's not authentic. Yeah, it's not authentic.
Back to what you were saying before, as far as I've my consentidas, my Ruben Morales, my nana bought me 23 years ago. I don't care what happens, that Vihuela will never leave me. I don't give a shit if somebody can offer me a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah,
and
they could pay off your mortgage. Nope, not gonna happen.
It's not just not gonna happen. It's the sentimental value behind it. So that Vihuela is not going anywhere. Granted, I've had Candelases. I've had the Vihuela I'm using now is a Sevillano, which back in the day, I think we can all admit, we're like, Sevillano? No. We'll never use Sevillano. Panacho? Nah,
never.
Use that shit. Granted, the quality is there now, the sound is there, so on and so forth.
You have to give people a chance.
Correct.
People learn.
The first time, I love Tomas, I love Candelas. The first time I went over there, I was like, and who actually got me stuck on Candelas was Javier Maciel and Ruben Loya.
Yeah, man.
Ruben Loya. Everybody was going to.
How do you think I got there?
That's
how I got there.
Before back in the day, before Sevillano
came along.
Well, he's always been there, but it had that negative stigma because it's in Mexico. You gotta ship it. Whatever the case was, people didn't want to take their shit over, which I understand.
Right. You don't like crossing the border in San Diego.
Correct.
It's not a fun experience.
A lot of people were like, no, we're not taking a Sevillano. So the only other person in the States
was
at that time was Tomas. So I had my Ruben, and con la mano pesada, I went to the Mica and I went to the Woods. So I had to get it redone.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I went to Tomas. He redid my Vihuela and came out perfect. Nothing wrong with it.
That's been my experience. Yes, I will say it on the podcast. Tomas will charge you for his time. He will charge you, which is only right. Which I hear a lot of people say is expensive. I'm like, what do you expect the man to do? Work for free?
Yeah. Hey, Jason, we're going to hire you for these 5 hours, but you're going to play for free.
Yeah, it's
why
like,
the fuck am I going to do that for free?
Why would I do that? Well, we'll feed you. Like, no, I make food at home. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Every time I have taken anything to Tomas, it has been 100% perfect.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like, that's a very hard thing to come by, man.
Right.
That's very. I've been watching Sevillano all week, repairing instruments ad hoc at the conference.
Yeah.
And I might become unpopular for saying this. I know he's a lifesaver for a lot of people, and what he does, and sometimes he doesn't even charge people.
Right.
He'll just be like, I will fix it because I have super glue, or I have the wood glue, or I have this. I'll just fix it for you. He's a very nice man. He redid my Morales, the green one, and he did a fantastic job on that. That was lucky. But when I see that ad hoc work going out there, trying to fix little things, going back, because people are bringing him shit like all week.
I just did yesterday. We'll have to explain this experience.
I saw a couple of things that I did not like, and I thought, why would you even bother, right? There's a little bit of that. Well, let's just take it all in, right? We're here. Let's just go to work, right?
Right.
And I saw a couple things come back from students, and I was like, that was not. I would have lived with the crack. Because
I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? Not that he did a terrible thing, but he did ad hoc, trying to fix stuff.
Right.
And for me, I'm thinking, okay, did that crack really make that much of a difference? Because the ad hoc fix. It's very
noticeable.
Very noticeable.
Right.
It didn't quite. Well, in one case, yeah, it looked like shit. I was like, oh my god. Thank God that's not a Morales because I'd be pissing my pants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's a great man. I think he's a really great man, but some of that ad hoc work is like you have to be choosy about what you're going to do, what you're going to spend your time on, right? If your time is just whatever, then okay, fine, that's whatever.
Right.
Like it's the same thing with gigs. When you take oh man, I'm going to get very unpopular. What the fuck does Jason know? He can't even sing. Anyways.
You and me both.
Yeah, we're both not singers.
When they call me, they are scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel.
Oh, jeez. They need someone in a suit who can play.
Correct.
Yes.
Somebody that can play a son or a bolero ranchera and keep time. That's about fucking
And
all
play
they call
it.
me for. Because I don't sing. Well, lately I've been singing a little bit. But believe me, if they're calling me, it's because they cannot get
Anyone. I've had that too.
Which is fine. Which I am perfectly okay with that because that entitles me to be picky.
Yeah, you can be
where I
picky.
play.
Who you play with, right? And that's one thing that's very analogous to gigs because, yeah, I can take on all the work that I want in Phoenix or Tucson, whatever. I can take every gig that comes my way, right? And I have done that. And at the end of the day, I come home, and yes, I'm paid, but I'm not always happy.
Absolutely.
Because I took on way too much, and not every single hour that we were playing was fantastic.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's because we were playing all day for 6-7 hours back to back, and by the fourth hour we were tired.
Yeah.
And
That happens.
and it's like I'm not happy. I can't even move my hands. I'm thinking back to the gig that we just finished with, and it was awful, and it was frustrating, and it's happened.
And that stuff can happen not even because you're tired, because of the people you play with.
Oh yeah, the people.
Which we will elaborate more on this concept.
We will have more talks about this. And, you know, that's a very good topic. We're not going to name names, obviously,
No.
but that's a definite thing. The people that you play with, and I've been guilty of this. I'll tell you right now, I purposely get on Miguel's nerves sometimes just to see if I can fuck with him a little bit, and I do. And sometimes I push him a little too far, and he's actually in a legit pissed off mood.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm sorry. I kind of. Can I buy you a drink, buddy? I'm sorry. I went a little too far there. I started playing some shit on purpose wrong just to see
Just to see his reaction.
just to see his reaction, and he's like, "Fucking shit, stop it!"
Fucking play it right.
Yeah. It happens, man. But looking at all the work that he was doing this week, I'm like, I mean, damn, can you just say no? I have all this work.
Right. No, and in that sense, I understand that. And I'm not, believe me, I'm not here to defend anybody because I don't fucking know his work, anybody else's work, yours or mine. I'm not here to defend anybody. In that sense, yes, you're right. He probably should have, there's some shit he probably should have said, you know what, I don't have the time, I don't have the tools.
To do it right.
To do it right. Mándamela, send it to me, you know, whatever the
I'll
case
make
is,
sure it's good.
I'll make sure it's good. So in that sense, you're right. Maybe he shouldn't have done the job.
And maybe it was funny. Maybe he said, "You know what? This is not going to come out good.
Right.
Do you still want me to do it?"
Right. Exactly.
And
because
maybe,
and I think that goes back to anybody can have shoddy work at any particular time.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love Tomas and I'm not here to bag on nobody, there was a time where
it's coming out wrong.
there was some instruments coming out bad. Even
Like
so,
repairs or actual like makes.
both.
Dang.
Both. There was a time where I had a custom candelas that I ordered from Tomas, which was stolen in my Blazer back in the day. Anyway, I had
Rookie mistake. Left it in the car.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I fucked up. My vihuela and D's cannonball trumpet was fucking stolen.
Oh Jesus!
But,
You know it was somebody that was just waiting on you guys to slip.
I don't know what the fuck. I try not to remember because it just pisses me off now still. But anyway, I had a custom order from Tomas. Came out fucking beautiful, man. A candy apple red vihuela, all white border. I have pictures of it, so if somebody fucking has it, don't let me ever find out that you
Tell you what, let me post pictures up here on this thing, and we'll see if there's
Yeah,
any responses,
actually,
man.
I have pictures of it. But anyway, beautiful vihuela came out fucking awesome. The sound out of it was amazing. Fucking phenomenal work. Somebody else here in town ordered a custom vihuela. Y no salió bien.
Shit.
It was a very dead sound. Somebody else had sent a repair. It came back. The lacquer was super thick. It deadened the entire sound of the vihuela.
Wow.
And like I said, and I'm not here to bag on nobody.
You're just being honest.
Yeah, I'm being honest.
That's the whole point of the
you
podcast.
Guys. I haven't seen you in many years, but even the last time, because I had my vihuela redone twice with the mas. The first time came out tip-top shape, perfect. The second time, the lacquer came out super, super thick. And
that die?
Awesome.
Shit. Yeah. Well, that's not good. How long have we been talking?
I have no idea.
Holy shit, we've been talking for 45 minutes.
We
We haven't even started. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's why I was gonna buy some new gear this weekend, but I didn't end up using it, so I took it all back. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna be a little colo here and take some of this shit back I didn't use. Probably should have kept it. I didn't know I was gonna talk to you today. Oh man. So yeah, man, this whole experience, man, we gotta come back. You gotta come up to Phoenix.
Yeah.
And just chill. And we'll be in the office where I have all the nice shit. We're moving into a new home this next week.
Nice.
So we're gonna have our own little office. It's our house. No one can say shit. I can do whatever I want to it. And then, yeah, dude, I'd like to keep doing that. I want to be like the Joe Rogan for Mariachi Podcast, man. Just a practitioner, not an all-star, but just talks to people, man. And that'll be a lot of fun.
That'd be awesome.
So, Boo-Boo, since our camera equipment died, you got any last words for the PlayMariachi Podcast, man?
Honestly.
For all those vihuela players out there, they've been busting their ass all week, trying to be the best. I'll tell you nothing, but Pueblo's group, they're fucking fire, dude. They're on fire.
And believe me, man, it's awesome that these kids are even better than we were at that time. You know?
Way better.
I mean, so much better. But I think what people have to, different generations have to remember is these kids have a lot of things, I hate to say it this way, but handed to them. As far as if they want to learn something, it's literally at the palm of their hand.
It's on YouTube.
Their phone, their YouTube, the music.
We didn't have that shit.
We didn't have that shit. Dude, I mean, a lot of people, it's funny, I say this, the infamous Juvenil Cascabel solo, I pulled that shit out from a goddamn tape that Carranza gave me. Richard Carranza, when he was a music teacher at Pueblo, he was my teacher. He gave me a damn tape of that shit. I had to rewind that shit and hold the play and pause button at the same time to slow it down.
To get the monicos.
I busted that tape I don't know how many times. Carranza gave me I don't know how many copies so I can figure that shit out. That's how we figure stuff out.
Listen
back
to it.
in the day.
Yeah.
We listened to it. There was no fucking YouTube. There was none of that shit.
No music scores.
Kids have now.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong,
It's a good thing.
it's a good thing.
It's a good
damn
thing.
good thing. I'm glad these kids are better than us. They should be better than us.
Right.
At that point.
They should be miles ahead.
Correct.
Because of all the infrastructure that has been set before them.
Correct. Absolutely. But in that sense, some of these kids have huge egos.
Oh, they do.
Huge egos.
I saw it all week, dude.
Yeah,
Cabezons walking
yes,
around that
and
conference
and
center,
that's what
like,
I
holy
think.
shit.
That's what I think the generations now need to, take a seat back and just humble yourself.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the generation now needs to be humbled.
Study. Realize that there's 100+ years of history behind what they're doing.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is great. It's great. We were talking to a guy at the bar last night, and he's just like, it's so great that all of this can happen. Where in the 50s and the 40s, if you were Mexicano, you couldn't even speak Spanish in public.
Right.
And now we can take over the conference center with Mexican music.
Yeah.
And with all this controversy and all this shit that goes on in the media and politics, this is a 37-year foundation that has always been here.
Right.
And I'm sitting there listening. I'm a part of it, right? I'm a practitioner. I'm not an all-star singer. I'm not even an all-star vihuela player. Or a guitar player, for that matter. You know,
Sorry,
none of us are.
Right.
But just being a part of it and having it given everyone, all of us, a life. You know, I don't know what it is about Pueblo, man, but if you go through that mariachi program at Pueblo, you're not going to get stirred astray.
No.
Not too far. Not too far. You can make bad choices, but you're still going to have that foundation always guiding you back, man.
Right, exactly. And that's sort of, You're right. You're absolutely right with that. The Pueblo program is phenomenal. Not to
knock Tucson.
Not to knock Tucson High.
Tucson High was right on their fucking ass, man.
Yeah.
They were right on their coattails. I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be a battle.
Yeah. and even back in the day, I mean, when Coco was at Sunnyside and now Roberto Martinez at Sunnyside, like I can't wait to see what Roberto does with Sunnyside.
Yeah, he's pushing them.
Yeah.
He's got that old school. It's like you watch comedy.
Yeah.
You know how comics today are always like worried about censorship and all that, right? It's almost like if George Carlin came back from and started just
right.
That's how it feels. It's like
Yeah.
Roberto's there, and like he has that old school vibe of just like, no, you're gonna play it this way, and this is how we're gonna do it, and he hears everything, and he's like, does it really matter what you're gonna do? Here's this and here's that. And I see him teaching everything to students, and I'm like, I'm so glad that that's back, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm very excited to see what Roberto does with Sunnyside now. But like I said again, I mean, a lot of these kids need to be humbled.
Take them to a 4-hour chamba alone.
Yeah,
Make them play vihuela and then the bass.
Yeah, something, you know what I mean?
I mean, that is a bad experience.
It is. I mean, but believe me, that humbled me. Like I said, I've shared that story many a times with people, and I will continue to share that story because that was my first humbling experience, and I thank God Kramer showed me that, man, because I was that, Caraído kid.
Needed to be taken down a notch.
Absolutely. And I think the generations now, they probably...
Several notches.
Absolutely.
As great as they can be, as better as they were as us, they got to get back just that much, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing with... there's musicians I can say that don't know or don't... I guess I could say don't know that they are creídos and...
Yeah, they don't realize that they have a cocky attitude for no reason.
Have a shitty attitude, and they're chambeando, all day, every day, because they are good. And believe me, I'm not knocking their ability. They are good musicians, but there is no need to be a cocky little asshole.
That's very true.
I don't see, and believe me, it's like what's that saying? Everybody fantasizes about the one hot ass girl. But if she has a shitty attitude, it makes her fucking ugly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what that is. And I think in this case is, you could be a phenomenal fucking musician, but burn your bridges because you're an asshole and see if you're going to have the chamba or the shit you have.
Yeah, you're going to be at that bottom of the list for a bad reason.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be at the bottom of the list for that specific reason, or you're going to have to start chambeando out of town, out of state, out of whatever the case.
With people you don't want to be playing with.
Correct.
That's how you regress in a career, right? You end up like at that place in LA we go to where there's two sides, right? There's a group over here playing one thing fucking bad and then another group over here playing it even worse.
Right.
That's how you end up there, I think.
Yeah.
You either start there and work your way up, or you fucked up and now you're here.
Right, exactly.
That's how you end up playing at like a little bar cantina on 12th Avenue, and it's not even for mariachi music. You're just in there.
Yeah, you're just in there making noise at that point.
Oh Jesus, man.
But yeah, I think some musicians just need to be humble, man. Simple as that.
That's a good message for the PlayMariachi Podcast. BoBo, thank you so much for taking the time, having us here in your crib. It's Mariachi week. It's Saturday. It's pretty much all over, but the crying and
hangovers.
And the hangovers. Yeah, we trained jiu-jitsu this morning, man. My gi smelled like tequila and scotch. It looked like it too. It had like a amber hue around the collar. I was like, ooh, that's all that alcohol I drank last night. A la madre.
Hydrate, buddy.
Hydrate. Been drinking water all day.
Good.
So, BoBo, thanks for letting us stop by.
No problem.
For everyone out there in the PlayMariachi Podcast world and on YouTube, we want to say thanks for watching and listening. Sorry for the camera. Hey, we're not in my office. We're on location. We're in South Tucson. Sometimes shit happens. And big message for everybody is stay humble, guys. Stay humble and just go after it. That's all you can do. All right, BoBo, thanks a lot, and thanks everybody. Later.